Bourquin, and it is Wednesday, March 25th. And the reason I am jumping on this video right now is because I have had a number of people reach out that have wanted to do Zoom calls and phone calls and talk about what can be done right now for their music business or for your music business. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little more efficient here, and we're going to put together a weekly mastermind group that's going to be through a Zoom conference call through the computer, and it's going to be about 30 to 60 minutes long, and we're going to discuss all the things that um, all the opportunities that are out there right now, but not just that, but more importantly, the opportunities that are coming. This is an unprecedented time for live music, and there are things that we can be doing right now to prepare for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up to questions. We're going to open it up to comments, and we're just going to spend some time together every week. And there is going to be a charge. It's going to be $20 per month. That 20 bucks is going to get you at least four, because we're going to do one a week of 30 to 60 minutes. And here's the deal. That $20 is not for us. That $20 is going directly to families that have kids that are home from school and are not getting a full 3 meals per day and just flat out need some help. So that money is 100% going to go directly to those families. So again, this is a time where if we do the right things and we think the right way and we get together and we collaborate and we start brainstorming, we're going to come up with some amazing concepts and amazing ideas that have the potential to change the face of the new music industry. We've been hearing about the new music industry for a while. The new music industry is what's coming. I want to help you get ready for that. I want to be ready for that. I want to be part of it, and I'm looking forward to working with you on this. So here's what you do. It's really simple. There is a link. There's a button right below. Click on that button. It's going to just ask for your information, credit card, your email, and you'll get an email from us basically confirming that. And then you're going to get a weekly email from us with the Zoom links, and we're off and running.
Yeah. All right. So as you could see, that is going to be a little bit of information that I'm sharing with my next guest. This is Chad Bourquin. But before we get there, I want to talk to you a little bit about my friends at 5 Star Guitars. They have been with me from the beginning, helping support. So if you go to www.5starguitar.com and check out, that's plural, 5starguitars.com, you can get equipment and repairs and lessons all right there. I also want to invite you guys to check out an airing immediately after our live broadcast here. If you go to www.abductedbythe80s.com, you'll find a direct relief fundraiser, a virtual concert that has all sorts of bands back from the 80s. A Flock of Seagulls, Wang Chung, Naked Eyes, New Shoes, Animotion, The Vapors, Escape Club. Tiffany's going to be a special guest there. We've got Richard Blade as one of the guest hosts, and my girl downtown Julie Brown is also making a surprise appearance. I guess it's not a surprise anymore, but and it was hosted by yours truly, which is a nice thing. But all the proceeds that go from purchasing the direct relief event shirts go to help this 501c3 that is assisting the frontline workers, EMTs, healthcare workers, all the people that are involved in dealing directly with the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic. And it'll be immediately following this. So when we finish up, if you go to www.abductedbythe80s.com, you can see live streams both through Facebook or YouTube. With that said, we just watched a little bit of the new music transition video, and I've got a lot to cover with my buddy who has matching glasses and is inspiring in a bunch of different ways. My pal in Kansas City, this is Chad Bourquin. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, Kevin. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for being here. I let a few of my friends know when we did a Facebook Live sort of a question and answer pitch when I was out there for my gig, having people help me pick out glasses.
Yes.
I found you and your glasses, and just knew that having never had a pair of glasses myself, I needed to have some of those as I get a little bit older. And you made that happen. So before we go anywhere else, you want to talk about that your hookup?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of not too far off how I ended up with these. I was doing a Facebook Live uh, song with my brother, or like a few songs, and I didn't have these glasses. I had another pair, and I just kept doing this all the way through.
Okay.
I play guitar and do this. and Leon, our mutual friend now, calls me. He goes, "You're driving me crazy. You got to get in here."
That's his sales pitch, right?
Yeah.
You're killing your show.
You're killing your show. You're killing me. And
right.
Come in here. Let's fix you up. And this is what we came up with.
Man, I was so in love with these frames, and so like purple, of course, is my thing, but they're so unique. The Teo glasses, right, from Italy,
right?
I think, and he's the master optician. He'll go in, and for me, it was amazing to have him come in on his day off and test my eyes, make sure that he got me fitted. We checked out probably 100 pairs of glasses that day. Yeah. It's amazing. And so when I did the Facebook Live, I kept asking everybody, all right, how about these? And I kept going back to those. I have to have them. They're amazing. So I get a lot of compliments, and, kind of feel like we became brethren that day. Right?
We did. Yeah.
I've
never seen another pair out there. So I think it's just you and I.
Okay. I'll plan on if we do find somebody else, I have to get rid of them,
right.
or accidentally break their pair. But so Chad, besides the hat you're wearing right now, do you have an Adidas sponsorship?
No.
Okay.
I need a haircut.
It's the quarantine cut. Well, if you need a 5-star guitarist hat, we could send one of those out to you, man. And, I know that you got a good guitar collection. You should check out their stuff. They are locally run, but they have a great selection, and they're buddies of mine that have been supported from the beginning. So,
that's awesome.
But the other hats you wear, you're a booking agent, a talent agent, essentially. You are one half of the Big Time Grain Company band that's been touring around the Midwest and elsewhere. And you're a businessman, entrepreneur, helping musicians figure out ways to make more money.
Right.
And then you're a wonderful father as well, right? And husband. So you, the most important thing, how are Tammy and the kiddos holding up with the self-distancing and social, so the distance learning? Are you guys done on summer break now?
Yeah, they're doing all right. It was my daughter's senior year.
Oh yeah.
So, she went through that. She was kind of done with school, so it wasn't as hard on her maybe as some.
Yeah.
She's going to K-State next year.
Okay.
Super excited about that. And my oldest son, he's just been so busy. But he's like, it's opening it up a little bit here, because he played a gig last night. He's a bass player. Yeah.
No kidding. Wow. Inside or outside?
Inside.
Okay. They just have some, like, the capacity sort of limited and.
Yeah. So what the county is completely opened up and just telling everybody, the venues to do the responsible thing.
Okay.
And so a lot of them are, not every table's available, that sort of thing. And I think there might be a limit on some of them as well.
Sure.
But
that's your boy's a bass player. That's cool. I didn't know that.
The oldest one, and the youngest one is a drummer.
Oh man, so you got the whole band.
I do.
Yeah. I guess my gig's out. Darn it. Yeah. Do you guys actually play shows together?
We haven't, except for they backed a young girl country girl one time, and they didn't have a guitar player, so I sat in and did that with them. But they've kind of all got their own things. So
yeah, you're the ringer. Do they not recognize how the magic and having dad, the rock star, join their band, even for
law of familiarity?
Yeah,
it's like, I'm around all the time. It's not that big a deal.
But don't do they travel with you on the tour bus at all?
Yeah, actually, Micah, my oldest son, he runs lights a lot, and we'll go and run lights and stuff. But he won't be doing that so much now, since he's playing a lot more. So my youngest son will be doing that more.
Nice. That's cool. How old is your youngest?
16.
Okay, man, what a great age for playing drums, right? Just
Yeah.
just rock the anxiety and the angst of a pubescent boy out.
Right.
It's a that's
Yeah. He started at 11, so he's been doing it a while.
right on.
But
Who are his favorite drummers? Do you know?
man, he is all across the board. You know, for a long time driving the lessons, he was like playing Toto.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. And still, I'm like, how'd you get turned on to this? This is
Right.
cool. You know?
Well, Africa's making a huge return, right? Yeah, because like
Yeah.
Weezer covered Africa, and then all the the Gen Z kids are now into it. It's
Yeah.
who would have thought,
And
right?
then, so he's been doing a lot of metal lately. And
Okay.
so his drum set's in the basement, but then like sometimes he'll just set up a little pad in his
Yeah.
room with his double kick pedal, which it's right there.
No. Oh yeah.
So I'm sitting there working. It's just
Yeah. Did you tell
like,
him just give me a few minutes, son? And Dad's got to
yeah,
be on the
take a break.
yeah. That good for him though, man. It's nice, that he's practicing.
Yeah,
That is a beautiful thing. I think being able to play music at home right now when life is kind of upside down for
yeah,
teenagers especially, good stuff, man. I'm sorry for your daughter. My boy graduated last week as well, and in high school, and
yeah,
it's tough, right? As a parent, you can commiserate with them, but they have a pretty amazing story, for later on to say,
yeah,
yeah, that was my graduation year.
yeah,
The world shut down, but
yeah,
yeah. So if the county opened up for you, and really, if it looks like, I mean, obviously, most of your gigs are not just county, but are you taking over some of the booking stuff again as well? Are you,
yeah. I mean, our big time grain company stuff was all festival mostly. Most of that's been moved to next year,
okay?
and it wasn't local. Um, so, but as far as like the shopping center bookings and stuff, they're starting back up. I've got some starting at the end of June.
Really? Wow,
But
it's a
they're
couple
all out.
weeks.
They're all outside,
Yeah.
so it's easy to be spread out on those. Um,
I don't know
Easier.
what I was gonna say. When I think about that gig that we did, there was a lot of sweaty people right on top of each other. So
That was a bigger one than a lot of what we do. We do a lot
okay,
of regional and local bands, and they're not going to be as compressed as what that was you experienced.
okay,
That particular one, like this year, we are doing that again. It's just moved back to July and August,
okay.
so it'll be nice and warm.
Yeah, well, keep us in mind, man. We're all looking at a gig. We
Yeah,
are doing some Midwest stuff in August. I think that I was surprised that they booked it, because I really felt like Tony was going to be void of any gigs. But we've got California coming up in a couple of weeks, and as long as
good.
our singer can get over from Liverpool, he's
Yeah,
there right now. But I man, well, hopefully you guys are able to get out, play. Your agency can be out there working, and you've figured out a way to kind of make some of this happen and be sustainable even with a pandemic. So you want to talk about this? I don't want to give away too much because you're actually doing a weekly sort of plan with this, but you want to talk about that program?
oh, we can talk about any of that. That's fine. So yeah, I mean, up until that hit, we've been developing some projects, that weren't completely finished or ready, or maybe we hadn't really taken the market yet. But this forced the issue because booking is live entertainment and playing
Right.
is live entertainment, and that
Sure.
was as we know went to zero. But it opened up this space of time for Brett and I, my brother, to work on these other things. So that was finish the training program. We've been working on that for 2 years, and bam, now we got this time, so we can get that done. The other thing, we do a lot of custom songs, and where we're, writing a song for either a company or, we can do it for couples, whatever, create songs around their story. That's a pretty cool niche thing that we've been doing.
It's like a personalized jingle for.
And it's not a jingle; it's an actual song. I mean,
Okay.
we're doing one for a company. It's their 60-year anniversary, and I went in and interviewed 10 people that the owner selected,
Okay.
and basically just asked them, like, because this company really cares about their employees, and so I asked them all, so, what is it you love about this company? Do you got any stories you can share?
Wow. Yeah.
And took all, and then took their information and took that information and wrote a song with those stories and those words and just
That
put
is
it into
so,
lyrics.
that's a
So
legacy for the companies. And I would think,
yeah,
you talked about couples too. I imagine having a song written, like say for a wedding.
about their story.
Oh my God, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is special.
So
Are you performing those live then too? If it's somebody local?
well, so the way we ended up with that one company once because we got booked for their corporate party, and he was asking us for over the top ideas, and
Okay.
so I threw that one at him. So yeah, we're going to play that. That was supposed to be in May. It's undefined when it is going to be now, but yeah, we will eventually play that song for their event. We're going to put it on a CD. We're gonna have part of our catalog on that CD as well. So it's going to be a custom CD. It's going
Nice.
to give them that song and part of our catalog. So
That is
um,
cool. I mean, there are a bunch of people that watch this that have businesses or,
mhm.
nuptials coming up. How does somebody get a hold of you to have something like that done?
Oh, the easiest way is probably bigtimegrain.com.
Okay.
I mean, I've got my own website too, but my name's really fun to spell. So
Yeah.
there's chadborquin.com if you could figure that one out.
You got 4 vowels in there. That's the tricky part. Yeah.
Yeah.
More
Right.
vowels than consonants. But, well, when we finish up, I'll definitely be getting links to everything in there because we want to make
Okay.
sure that, bigtimegrain.com is the primary, right?
Yeah. That'll get to me. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And because I said you wear a lot of hats. I mean, you've got this program where you're really coaching bands and musicians to be able to sort of retailor the way that they approach their business, right? So
Right.
the business part of music, if you're watching this and you're not a musician, this may still be interesting to you, right? I know that a lot of my friends that might not know the back end of the business, they're always amazed when I'm carrying around a camera and I do the Facebook Live stuff because I love to
Mm-hmm.
share. It started with me wanting to share the experience on the road with my kids. If they weren't out on tour with me, I wanted
Mm-hmm.
them to see like, oh, check out the stage or look at this ocean view or man, nice catering spread or something like that, or showing off my drums. And then people that just weren't even musicians started chiming in saying, oh, it makes us feel like we're right there on stage with you.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Mm-hmm.
and it's exciting. Those people also thought, well, where's the limo? Where's the, I'm sure you guys have, plates of cocaine and tons of chicks waiting out back and millions of dollars, right? And so the reality check is, that just like most people work at a job, you can be smart with the way that you run your business, and you can enjoy, the fruits of the labor a little bit, but really there's a smart way to go about doing this. And the first time you and I met, you talked about marketing your brand and really how important it was to make a connection with the people that are there to support you.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I personally remember a lot of people that I met through you at that show. There's something about Midwesterners too that are really welcoming, but one of my favorite things is to develop connections with people when we're out on the road. And I just think that it's kind of rare for some bands because they feel like they have to put on this show where they're too good to go out and talk to somebody that maybe in the opening act or maybe that, bought tickets to come see your show. And I loved how welcoming everybody was there. I felt like I was family, right? I felt like, I'd never been to Kansas City before. And, we're going out to barbecue and, you're running me around, introducing me to, business owners. And I think had I not been open to that, I wouldn't have been able to make such great friendships out there. That seems just inherent in what you do. And so I think that's one of the ways that we connected. But how does that relate to building a connection for your band so that it represents something more than just a package that you perform and then you're out of there? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it completely does. I think, well, first of all, I think we have to understand that the music industry is not the same as it was.
Right.
When, that persona of kind of the aloofness of it doesn't work anymore.
Sure.
I mean, I suppose if you're one of those ones that just go right to stardom, and how many times did we hear that?
Right.
Almost nada. Then maybe you can get by with that. But otherwise, I mean, it's people that it's the relationships with people that are what leads to us getting our dreams. You
Yeah,
know, it's not the givens are you have to be good. You've got to have practice. You got to know your skills. You got to do those things. Those are the givens. But the things that make the difference are how do people feel after they come to a show with you?
sure.
Do they feel like, wow, I really got that singer. That drummer really connected with me. I mean, um, and that was one of the things I really enjoyed about just watching you after the show, how much effort you put into those connections. You know, one of the many modules in our training program talks about connecting on stage, but then there's another one that talks about connecting off stage, and that's equally or more important. If you're a band that's coming up and you're not a Flock of Seagulls where you can't, Flock of Seagulls probably could not do this. This is what I'm about to suggest, but a band that's not well known should do this every time they can, and that is people are trying to decide two things when they come see you for the first time. They're trying to decide, do I like their music?
We lost some audio there for a second. This is a key thing, Chad. If you can hear me, hold tight. Your internet's coming back in a second. I could see the signal drop for a moment. So you gave the very first, you said, number one, do I like their music? And number two, I think you're back again.
Yeah.
All right. And you said number two was?
Number two, do they like me as a person, or, us as a person,
Sure.
people? And so you can bridge that gap before you ever get on stage.
Sure.
And you can do that. It doesn't take much, but maybe, and the more people in your group that do this, the better, because then it just multiplies. But, going out and just sitting, shaking a few hands, saying hi to a few people. You don't even have to hit everybody.
Yeah.
Because the other people are going to see that you're doing that. They're going to say, wow, this just looks like a good guy,
Yeah.
And then when you get on stage, that part's done.
Sure.
They only have to decide, do they like your music?
Okay.
And at some point, and they may not care if they like your music, if they like you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank goodness. No, I don't have to suck quite as bad, or I can suck all right. But
Yeah.
no, well, one thing about that day that I remember specifically was that when we pulled in, not having any idea what kind of gig it was, right? We try to approach every show like it's, you're playing Madison Square Gardens, right? Because it's, as far as I'm concerned, any day I can get on stage is the greatest day on the planet, right? And then if I get to hang out with people and, I'm an entertainer, man, I love to play on stage, right? It's an ego stroke, but it's also really nice to interact with people. If I was playing on my own and I wasn't getting to vibe with people, it just wouldn't be the same.
Right.
Way before we went on stage, way before anybody even knew I was in one of those bands, I loved walking out there because everybody had families out there. I thought, how cool for all these people to bring their kids. Maybe they're going to know A Flock of Seagulls songs. Maybe they aren't. Maybe their parents raised them that way, or they heard it on the radio or on movies. But they had animals out there. So I remember meeting all these dogs. I have all these great pictures with these dogs there in that parking lot. Some of my favorite pictures from the entire year's tour were two of these pictures that my friend Mike Meyer there took of me with these dogs. And I think, I don't know, man, there was just a special connection. And maybe it was the energy of being in a parking lot that was set up for people that you could tell just wanted to enjoy and let go and experience a getaway. Long before pandemics, long before stock market crashes or anything like that, all the other worries that they had were out the door, and they were there just to party with their families, like one huge big picnic. And a lot of that has to do with you putting that show together. I remember that you guys also dialed up, you had the kids aerial gymnastics thing off to the side, right? Was that through Tammy? Did she have that involvement, or?
No, the town center did that.
Okay. But it was an interactive thing that really was community based. That's the thing I think that gets missed a lot of times when people are putting on like summer concert series. If it's just, here's a performance of a band on stage and then they come off stage and it's over. But if it's something that leads up to it, where there are interactive things and community members and business owners and even like meet and greet sort of things, right? You had a really special thing set up for people that sponsored that event in the buildings behind. You brought people
Mm-hmm.
back to meet us. And for me, it just was really cool because it was kind of like a gathering of, it was like a family gathering, I mean, your family was there,
Yeah.
but I felt like, there were a bunch of people from the city that were there and business owners. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I not everybody does that. So the fact that you did things a little bit differently really stood out to me.
Mm.
And I would imagine, the guys that are really making this work are kind of taking that model, because you've been doing that for a while, right? For that region, you've been booking this for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 10 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your reputation precedes you. You're doing something right. And I would imagine, even with a pandemic, they're coming back to you because you know how to do it right. Yeah. And that's why you've built legitimacy even in your program for bands too. It's great to have your chops together and not suck, but it's also good to develop a community, right? So um, when you have a band that comes to you, maybe you've seen a band that, on stage they're really good, but their social media presence is bad or their community engagement is bad. Do you feel compelled to want to go up and go, hey guys, look, or do you just let people come to you? What's your MO typically?
Well, yeah, until the student's ready,
Yeah.
it doesn't normally do a lot of good. In fact, it could come out kind of off if I'm just giving unasked for advice.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Okay,
I
old
mean,
man.
yeah, right. The reason we started the training program anyway, one of the reasons was because people were asking the questions.
Okay.
They were asking me to go out to coffee and lunch, and eventually I was like, this is starting to take up some time.
Yeah.
So I need to be a little more efficient with it. And I could, and then I could help people anywhere in the world if we put this together right.
Right.
Because a lot of the aspects will work across the board through it. So,
Well, okay. You mentioned just a couple of things that people are thinking when they get to a show that could make or break the band experience.
mhm.
But talk about a couple of things. Maybe mention some pitfalls that bands fall through that really end up being detriments to their success.
Well, the very first thing, and it's actually the first thing we talk about is if the band members or the artist mindset is not in the right place, then it's going to be an uphill battle from that point on.
Okay.
If there's a lot of negativity going on, a lot of drama, a lot of back talking, I mean, that stuff, it's just hard to do. It's hard to work on the rest of it if that's not in order.
Sure.
Because that play, it's such an important part of a success in any business.
You bet.
It's hard enough to build a business when you've got the right outlook.
Right.
Throwing the wrong outlook. So that's number one. You know, the being teachable, that's a really big thing.
Okay.
Being open to new ideas. One of the things that's really helped us and me specifically in my music career was being open to the how. It's okay and really good to have goals and know where you want to go, but being open to the how it's going to happen can make a dramatic difference on how fast you actually get there
Okay.
and how fun it is.
Yeah.
Where if I think this has got to happen one way, and that way might even be based on the entire old model of music industry,
Right.
which is kind of going away or gone,
Yeah.
or some preconceived idea of how it should be, whatever, then I'm going to miss things like custom songs. Oh, that's an interesting idea,
Sure.
you know? And they're paying great money for these custom songs.
Sure. Well,
This is not a slack deal.
right. Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
it's an investment, really.
it is. I would have to work a lot of hours in a job to make up a difference there. And I don't want to do that.
Sure. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I
No.
want to keep doing music any way I can. I
Sure.
love to do music, all facets of it. So, that's the second one, is being open to the how. I mean, there's a bunch of other things, the pitfalls, but how people follow up and communicate when they're trying to book their own gigs. If
Okay.
you're in the beginning, you're booking your own gigs a lot of times. You don't have an agent. Oh, here's another one. Thinking that somebody else is responsible for taking them to the next level.
Oh yeah.
The That's a call I used to get a lot as an agent. I would get these calls like, I'm looking for somebody to take me to the next level.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't anybody.
Right.
It's well, there is, but it's
Starts
you.
with you, buddy.
Yeah, it's you
Right.
first.
Yeah. So walk me through that scenario. Okay. So I'm a 22-year-old band, right? So the band is, all the guys are in their early 20s.
Okay.
They've developed what they think their business model should be after watching Instagram influencers, right? And so they might be in the sort of new metal kind of vibe, which maybe demographically it works in different parts of the regions, right? It works in different parts of the country or outside the US. But we just know that our sights are set on getting to Download Festival in Europe, and we want to make $1 million each by the end of the year. We've got these 2 shows booked at the Elks Club in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, that my uncle set up. And so we made an event page on our Facebook, right? And I'm just spitballing here,
right.
But so far, I mean, we only have 11 RSVPs, and we have a lot more friends. So why aren't people signing up for our show? And really, the last show that we did there, we sold 4 CDs, and we have a download card for MP3s. We just forgot to bring it with us, right? But we don't have a website yet, but we do have our Instagram page and our Facebook page, and my uncle manages that. So put me
You
to
sure
work.
this isn't the real story? There was a lot of detail there.
I know. I'm trying to picture this guy that you didn't know coming off the ground saying, we think we have our stuff figured out, so why isn't it working for me?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things in that.
I just threw you a softball.
You did. Let's talk about the social media side first.
Okay.
The social media side of things is where a lot of bands get this wrong. They only get on their page if they are basically selling something.
Sure.
In other words, promoting a show, selling a CD, selling something. So let's move out of the music industry and just take a look at, if somebody does that to you, what do you do?
Oh, you turn it off. Absolutely.
You turn it off. You totally turn it off.
I don't be sold.
Yeah. So, the rule of thumb on that is like 1 out of every 10 posts could be something that you're promoting yourself or your band or whatever. The rest of those posts need to be ways for people to get to know you personally. Okay. As musicians, as a band, let them know the insides. That's what people want to be connected.
Sure.
Okay. Now more than ever, because
right.
we've had a lot of that taken away from us. So they want to know what's inside, the behind the scenes. Some of my favorite shows used to be those behind the scenes shows that they would do, or VH1, or the storytellers.
Yeah.
Concerts. I love those type of shows because you get to know what they're about and what they're like. That's how social media should be treated.
Okay.
What can I do that's going to give value back to people? Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay. Second thing is your interaction with people needs to be as an equal amount of effort in that. So if you want people following you as an artist, then maybe go invest thoughtful comments into their content, things they're posting, engage them.
Sure.
And, give before we start trying to ask for to take.
It seems like a simple concept, but that really is something overlooked all the time.
Well, in social media, it's weird. It's like we might be really good at that concept, and then but for some reason we forgot it on social media because we don't think they're the same thing.
Sure.
And they are the same thing. So,
That's one of the things I've done with this time of the quarantine time was I spent a ton of time doing that on Instagram. I'm not Instagram, LinkedIn.
Okay.
And the reason I picked LinkedIn specifically for us was just because, we have a lot of things that would work for corporate or businesses and that sort of thing as well. And plus the music licensing side of things, we're writing a lot of songs that would work for film and TV and all that.
Okay.
If I call a music supervisor, or if I message or try to connect with a music supervisor who makes those decisions and say, hey, will you listen to my stuff? It's the same wrong move.
Sure.
But
tell me the right move there.
Right move is, hey, just let my personality come out a little bit. I say, hey, listen, I'm normally out meeting a lot of great people on the road, but not now.
Right.
I'm meeting some great people on LinkedIn, and if you'd like to connect, let me know.
Okay.
Or I'd like, and then if they do, then I just start, then I'll engage in a conversation. But what I'll do before I do that is I'm going to go look and say, what are their interests?
Mm.
So most people will have ways to access their website or maybe you can look through their feed, see what they're doing, find things that are interesting to them.
Yeah.
Which we should do in regular conversations too.
Right.
Find out about the other person. It's the same thing. It's just applying this to social media. And then back to the thing I mentioned about the how. Not thinking just because I'm talking to a music supervisor that I am talking to them for the reason of getting my music to them.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It may be something I didn't even think of.
You bet.
And I need to be open. Otherwise, I'm going to potentially force a situation onto that person that will just shut it off instantly.
So you got to find ways to disarm them, right? I mean, when I say disarm, I guess just
be their friend.
Allow them, let down their guard a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because people are guarded, especially now on social media, right? Any social media, because there's a lot of volatility, so people are ready to kind of go, hey, man, but if you, instead of leading with the chin, if you can kind of say, hey, here I am, vulnerable, authentic, sincere. It's a dating process, right? I mean, it really is a courting process, I guess you could say, and in some respects. And if you were wanting to court a potential mate, you're not going to talk all about you, and or you will, and you probably not get the date. But it's funny. Another friend of mine who deals in this end of the business, Larry Toring, works with a lot of bands at an international level. He laughed. He said, before you even play, he caught your comment on that, because it's everything to do with not actually being on stage, right? Not the performance. There's so much that goes into development of your brand, because you really are selling a brand and extending your brand when you're trying to make music, even if you're a solo artist, for sure, right? The benefit, I guess, you have with a solo artist is that you don't have to have another personality that you're combating with as you're climbing the mountain, right?
Right.
But I think it seems to me anyway, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but your relationship that you have with your brother, Big Time Grain Company, you have similar goals. You guys have mapped this thing out as a business plan so that you have similar goals, even if they're not ultimately the exact same route, but you seem to work well together. You're always playing big shows and making good money. And that doesn't happen by accident, so maybe you can talk specifically about your roadmap that got you guys together. Was this a concentrated effort to make Big Time Grain Company a family-driven mega star band?
Well, I'd like to say it was that planned out, but no. So I started Big Time Grain Company because before he was really involved, the idea of it anyway, because I realized I was writing songs that did not sound like my three-piece rock band anymore.
Okay.
And so, and I asked him, I said, hey, I'm going to do this. Because he's a phenomenal bass player. I said, if you'll help me with this, I know you've got your own thing that you want to do. If you help me, I'll help you. And then we can pull each other up, whoever gets there first.
Nice. Cool.
Well, then we get out there and start playing, and then and he comes over one time we brought a drummer over to record a demo for a song of his, and he throws down this rough vocal track and then leaves. And I'm listening to this when he leaves, and I'm thinking, son of a bitch, that sounds better rough than something I've sang 100 times.
Really? Okay.
It's like, I am in the wrong spot here.
Humility.
And plus, I also recognize that whenever I had a chance to work on getting better at something, I always picked up a guitar. I never said I'm going to work on my vocals.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so that's kind of how it started. But the other thing that happened was, I had years of doing things wrong and some things right, and years of being an entertainment agent. Had an advertising company in that time frame. I went through 15 years of backup plans kind of between my all-out music career and then big time grain company.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes.
And the last thing I was doing was an advertising company. And we'd already started big time grain company at this point, but I remember sitting in my basement studio and just this company, the advertising company, was sinking. And I thought, I can't do this anymore. If I'm going to go under, I'm going to go under doing something I love. So I'm either going to find a way to get to the top of this mountain, or I'm just going to be dead on the side.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of everything that's now Big Time Grain Company for me, because it was that decision to say, I'm going to do this right. But we, because of all this experience and the advertising and the agency and all this stuff, when we came out of the gates looking bigger than we were.
Sure. Kind of a fake it till you make it sort of look.
I mean, the website, we had a decent website. We booked 7 dates at higher money than the band I'd been in for 15 years without anybody ever hearing us.
Oh, how do you negotiate that? Like that was your marketing skill right there, huh?
No, I mean, I was kind of blown away, honestly. But it was about, we made sure we looked like we had our act together.
Yeah.
And so people would look at the website, and back to your metal band, you mentioned we don't have a website.
Yeah.
That if a website, like when somebody calls to me and says, hey, do I, on my Facebook page, work for a website? The answer is no.
Yeah.
Now, I understand websites, a lot of people aren't going to visit them as from a fan base. They're going to be more social media. But if you want booked, you've got to look like you deserve to be booked.
You bet. And
the website means, okay, they're serious. And the beginning of a great website is great pictures.
Yeah.
Great promo pictures. And those two things together, we did that early on. They're way better now. But when we first did them, they were pretty good. And it was enough for people to say, where have these guys been all this time?
Look like you've been there before. It's a good.
So now we had to still, we had to back it up when we got there.
Right.
But we've been doing it long enough that, that was not the deal. But, so I don't remember what your original question was.
Well, I asked about those aspirations, like early on, as you guys planned this thing out, and you said, you sort of threw caution to the wind. You said, if I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to die trying. I mean, at that point, you're a dad, you're married, that's a huge risk, right? Like taking a corporate job in an ad agency that you ran and saying, what, I think I'm going to make music my living is something, it's every parent's nightmare to hear their kids say, right? Because they're just concerned that, you're going to fail for your family. Yeah. But you were determined to succeed. You had some business principles in place. And like I said, you and your brother were sort of in alignment that you were going to take those principles and make this succeed at all costs. Yeah. So I guess you're fortunate at that point that the band out at the gate had a good representation of what you looked like aesthetically on the web, right, with the website. Mm-hmm. You got some really good gigs. I would imagine from those gigs, not only were they financially lucrative, but hopefully you got some content from those that made it look like, all right, so here's some footage from a live show that was really successful. So any potential future booker can see that this is not a band that has never played on stage before, but we've actually had a successful run. I'm guessing, I'm speculating, right? But
yeah, for sure.
So step two, then, how do you take that band past the first series of bookings and legitimize to, say, get out of the state and start making regular money?
Yeah, so just continue to develop the brand, continue to develop our social media, but then also make sure we took really good care of the people that did book us. You know, developed good relationships, because they were our biggest assets.
Sure.
You know, they're the ones that would tell people, and then I started getting to, you know, and this is a hard thing for a lot of bands to do. I see this a lot. I see bands that will, you know, in the local and even regional stage, will book an entire year out of fear of not having a date. And so there's a balance there that I had to learn. I had to look, and what they'll do is they'll book a bunch of dates that probably are just okay dates.
Okay.
Because so that, you know,
just to make the calendar look full.
Just to make the calendar full and look full, and so I learned at some point to stop doing that, because what I noticed was happening was there were some really, really great gigs that were coming in at the last moment sometimes. And because we hadn't done that, we were able to do that. And I can trace back some of those gigs. Like one of them was a private party. And that led to probably 5 or 6 other really high paying gigs. It led to our trailers all being sponsored.
Wow.
And we went through. We went from a 5x7 to an 8x10, and now we have a 10x20.
Nice.
All completely sponsored, all from a gig that was booked 3 days out.
No kidding. Yeah.
And,
so that doesn't just happen either. When you get the gig, it's not like you play the show and they're thankful that you did it last minute. So here's a sponsorship for trailers.
Yeah. No.
So you want to talk a little bit, because, you know, this is something that eludes almost everybody in the business. You know, they ask you about sponsorships, endorsements, you know, and most people's thought is that, oh, you know, that you show up and they throw stuff at you. And that doesn't happen. You know, drum companies, guitar companies, you know, like you don't have Fender calling you up and saying, hey, Chad, you know, I saw that you got a Fender guitar on your wall there. You know, I got a 52 Strat that just is collecting dust in our shop here. We'd like you to have it for free. Don't worry about giving us any kudos or anything like that. We just think you got cool glasses. Right? But
it's all it takes.
How do you go about playing a gig last minute and hooking up this trailer deal?
So I think the trailer, probably that particular group booked us, you know, like I said, probably 6 or 7 more times, but it must have been the 3rd or 4th time we were showing up in this U-Haul trailer. And we got done one night, and these guys were all sitting around the table and just like, hey, we're tired of seeing you guys show up in a U-Haul and think you need your own trailer.
That's great.
So bought us a brand new. I mean, it came with like chrome wheels on. It was awesome. Oh. You know, it just these. You know, it was. They really did it right. But I mean, it was. You know, by this point they were like, they wanted us to stay at their beautiful lake home when we get there and play. You know, this was a real relationship that had developed. Sure. We ended up playing their wedding years later. You know. So
every time it is about the relationship, right? It really is. I don't want to interrupt that story, but I was figuring that you're probably going to say it had something to do, the communication that you had with them, the fact that you pulled up in a U-Haul and they got tired of seeing a U-Haul pull in. Obviously they had connections with trailers. It made sense for them to have this group that's playing their organization a bunch of times to have the best gear, right? So it's a win-win for both. You know, it has to be a win-win for both. When you're trying to deal with endorsement companies and sponsorships, they have to get something out of it. The fact that you didn't have to ask for it and that they offered it up is kind of it's a rarity, but they probably sensed, because of the relationship that they developed with you, that you'd be amenable to helping promote that organization. their company by sponsoring or by showcasing the trailer,
Mhm.
talking about the company. I'm sure they were cool with a logo, for their company being, emblazoned upon, the trailer. You got to be careful with that. Now I think about it, because anybody that knows that a band trailer that's out there has gear, and it's,
Yeah.
A Flock of Seagulls had a lot of stuff stolen, and it's kind of a uh, big deal. So I don't know how much you want to advertise, I guess, on band trailers, um, but they developed a relationship with you. That's
Mhm.
where that connection came from. And, I would imagine most of the sponsorships you have are sort of like that, right? That you have a written or unwritten sort of agreement that you'll trade your brand for theirs in a
Mhm.
sense, right?
Yeah, and and just in the story of how the gigs kept continuing to develop, I contrast this story, these two gigs all the time. And this goes back to not prejudging the how. So we played in 2015 when the Royals won the World Series. We played that celebration event. We were the only band that played it, and there
Wow.
was 800,000 people at this deal.
Nice gig.
It was heads, as far as
Yeah.
you can see. One of the most amazing experiences and a huge thing to put on our promo.
You bet.
But we also played sometime after that this little house party where we set up 5 of us, so small, in a corner of a room. We were like, what did we get ourselves into here? They had chairs, 40 chairs in this house that were just kind of, one down one. And I mean, I could reach out and high five the front row.
That is awesome.
I was bumping them accidentally while I was playing guitar.
Wow.
And we're playing the first song, and we get done, and the place just erupts.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, this is cool.
Lifers.
No
Those are
longer
lifers.
what do we get into? This is cool.
Yeah.
That one house party was in Iowa, and it has opened up the entire state to where we almost spend more time in Iowa than any other state now.
Wow. Really?
I could sit there and look at all of these massive events we've done in Iowa. We've done these major corporate parties. We've got an event that's paying more money with everything we're doing with the custom songs and all that than I used to make in a year.
God.
In playing music, and all because of that. Because here's what happened. We played a couple small sets in there and got done, and we just hung out with everybody for another hour to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that just led to all kinds of things. So you just never know,
Yeah.
It's not about getting out there and playing these massive gigs. It's about making the relationships. And when you do that, it can lead to the massive gigs.
Yeah. That is the most sage words ever. There's a lot more that goes into this sort of mastermind plan. This package that you had, there's an ebook that talks about playing music, making money, play more, make more money.
Yeah.
And, I thought about posting a little excerpt of it here, but I think what I want to do is get people pointed towards your site so that they can sign up. I did your intro video, but it says click on the button below to,
whoops.
Yeah, but I do think what I'd like to do is make sure that I get the links to the program, your package, in there, and I think it's just playmusicmakemore.com is the website that you go to. There's an ebook sign up right at the front of it, and I know that you do one-on-one coaching. You've got the mastermind program, got the online course. So you think first step, have a get the ebook, right? Because the ebook kind of outlines the sort of the basic bare bone foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'll do is I'll make sure that we get that link in there.
Okay.
I think so many bands could benefit from, you've paved the way for a lot. You've hit the speed bumps. You already figured out a lot of that stuff. So your kids are in really good shape. They don't have to hit as many speed bumps as you did, right? Getting there. But I would imagine, as a mentor and as a sort of a coach, it really is like one of those things that you're a business coach. It just happens to be in the music business, and that doesn't really happen very often that somebody's willing to give away those goods. But I'm excited to share it with people, too. So I'll make sure that those links get placed in the archive of our conversation.
Okay.
And I would like to also make sure that people go to Big Time Grain Co. You said bigtimegrain.com is how they can get a hold of you for.
Yeah, how to work. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just hit the contact button.
Cool. Awesome. Mm-hmm. And you'll send a picture with your glasses.
Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever. Autograph glass. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Tammy. I really, I'm excited, man. I really am. I think it's just cool that you're doing this program, and especially right now that you're kind of working with people to be able to pivot and do something that's productive and still fulfill their music, you know? So I'm excited that you guys are open up too. You have to let me know how these gigs show, because I'm excited to do some live thing. As it stands, the only live thing we're doing is in 1 minute, the second broadcast of the Abducted by the 80s show.
Awesome.
So make sure, folks, that you go to bigtimegrain.com to check out Chad's. You can get your custom music done, and also have maybe a couple questions for some booking opportunities in that area.
Sure.
And then also the Play Music Make More.com site. So I'll put links to both of those in the archive here. And if anybody needs to get a hold of you, they can catch you through Facebook, right? At Chad Bourquin.
Sure. Yeah.
Bourquin.
Yep.
And just watch for him, man. He'll take you to the best barbecue in the Midwest.
Yeah. Right.
And hopefully, if you get a chance, man, have the kids pop on abductedbythe80s.com. There's a great live stream hosted by yours truly happening right now.
Awesome.
So it's really great to see you, man. Thank you for your time, buddy. And I look forward to catching up more this summer.
Sounds good.
Will you hug your family for me?
I will, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for all the wisdom. I appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya.
I'll see you.